is the battleground where warriors collide. Die Hard MMA podcast, we won't hide. Clint's gonna get deep, analyze each brawl from the underdogs to the champions standing tall. The fury, let your instincts rise. Feel the adrenaline rush, it's time to defy. Die Hard MMA, we're in for the thrill. Get ready for the madness. Let's make that bankroll spill.
Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen, degenerates of all ages, 21 and up. Welcome back to the Die Hard MMA podcast. This is the undefeated post-weigh-in show, UFC Vegas 114 edition. If you guys are new to the show, we watch everything. We break it all down. That's what Monday's show is all about. Throughout the week, we do a little bit more research. We talk with the boys. We make sure we catch up on anything we may have missed. Injury news, rumors, broken hands, all that kind of stuff. And then we watch the weigh-ins and we watch the face-offs. Who had a tough weight cut? Who's big? Who's small? Who's got the height and reach advantage? Who is lying about how tall they are on the UFC stats? And most importantly, who won the face-offs? Who's got the vibes? Whose aura absolutely crippled their opponents? That's what this show is all about. It's all about adding an extra little bit of information for you so that you can make a good decision when gambling on the UFC tomorrow. That's why on this show, there's never been a bad read, never a bad bet. That's why we are undefeated on Fridays. Welcome into the show, everybody. Let's freaking go. We've got TH in the house. We've got Playing for Real. Seekers, what's going on? George, Ray, Bro, my man. As you guys know, the Friday show is your show. So we put all the comments up here on the side so that you guys can see what everybody else has to say and what's going on screen. Of course, as always, we go over the entire card. We break it all back down one last time. I will tell you guys where my action is going, if any. I'll tell you where I plan to put my action, if any. And then you guys can make your own decisions as adults where you feel like gambling your money on UFC Vegas 114. This is a really fun card, you guys. I am looking forward to it. Let's get into it. First fight of the night, we have got the return of one of my personal favorites, one of the mangiest dogs you'll ever see in the UFC, who just refuses to die, Sam Hughes, and she takes on Piera Rodriguez, a women's MMA battle to kick us off here. 116 to start the night for both ladies. Both of them made weight pretty well, both of them in very good shape. As you can see, not a whole lot has changed from the first fight here. You know, this is a rematch, you guys. This is a rematch. So you've got Sam Hughes, who is slightly taller, slightly longer. Piera Rodriguez, who is a little bit shorter, a little bit thicker. She had the wrestling advantage last time. She went 5 of 11 on her takedowns. She managed to get only like a minute and 30 seconds of control time throughout the entire 15-minute fight. It was a round 1 for Rodriguez, clearly a round 3 for Hughes. Clearly, the whole fight came down to round 2. And we've got a very close and competitive betting line here on this one. A little bit of money just right now seems to have come in on the dog, Sam Page. Piera Rodriguez is sitting at about minus 150, plus 125. The underdog, Sam Hughes. And I got to tell you, you guys, not a whole lot gets added to this thing based on what we're seeing here today, right? There's no new news to add to this. I feel like Sam Hughes has made a lot of improvements over her last couple fights since these two fought the first time. I think you can tell, physically speaking, that Sam Hughes has packed on some muscle. Look at those abs. Look at the abs Sam Hughes is working with on the scale these days. So she's a little skinny, and that's kind of her thing. She's not the most athletic fighter we have ever seen, so she's got to do it the hard way, but she has obviously been transforming her body. She is stronger. She is more muscular. We can see that change in her. Piera Rodriguez, it's more about harnessing the beast with her, right? She got disqualified for headbutts. Like this is a chick who's just rage incarnate, and you can't really control it, and she does stupid shit in the fight. She blows her wad early, going for all these takedowns, trying to take her opponent's head off. She ends up tiring herself out and gassing herself out. I have zero evidence, you guys, absolutely zero evidence that anything is different for her in this fight. We haven't seen her really fix those problems. So this fight feels very, very similar to me as the first time they fought, except that I think Sam is just a little bit better of a human being than she was the first time that they fought. So this is my Link Memorial Dog of the Week, you guys. I was hoping we were going to get a better number because a lot of people are on Piera Rodriguez this week. I was hoping the number would continue to trend towards Piera Rodriguez. I wanted to get Sam Page at like a plus 150 or something like that. That never happened. Plus 130 really was kind of the peak, and now it's headed back down towards Pick'em, you guys. We are the day before the fights get started, and the number is coming down. So you're hearing anybody and everybody talking Piera Rodriguez. The money seems to be on Piera Rodriguez, but the line is now moving the other way. So that's just something to take note. This is a little bit of reverse line movement. It's not a huge deal. It's not a big thing, but it definitely is notable when most of the people who you know are probably talking about Piera Rodriguez, but the number comes down anyway. My plan, you guys, my plan for this fight is to live bet Sam Hughes. She is my dog of the week. However, I still fully expect round one to be very close and very contentious at best, and for her to lose it via takedowns at worst. So I do expect Sam to be at the same or better plus money by the end of the first round. So my plan is to sit tight, hang in there, let it go a little bit, and see what happens. I think I can get a better number. Now, the problem is, I'm loving how you're thinking here, Kurt. Sprinkling on the late Sam Hughes finish. I am very tempted to do like a 1-1 type of thing. Just in case Sam runs away with it in the first, right? I might do 1 unit on Sam pre-flop at this plus 125 number, and then do 1 unit live if the number gets bigger, because usually what I do, you guys know, I'm usually a two unit machine, right? Like if I'm playing a dog of the week, it's usually a two unit shot at it. So I might split it up and do half rather than doing 1-1, because I've done it a couple times recently where I expect my fighter to lose the first round and then they just win. So like they're better than I'm even giving them credit for as the guy saying I think they're going to win the fight. They just go out there and win the first round. So I don't want to miss out. If Sam Hughes is a minus 150 favorite going into round 2 and I got to lay 3 units to win 2, that's not going to feel nearly as good as having that plus 125 in pocket. So I might have to do 1-1. We'll see what happens. But for me, it's dog or pass. It's always Team Sam Page here on the Die Hard MMA podcast. All right, guys, next fight, you have got Elijah Smith taking on Su Young Yu. And is that real? One second. Okay, that's what I thought. I had to actually listen to the roll call here because this is out of order, and that is not jiu-jitsu. They're messing me up here, you guys. I don't know why the list is not right, but I can look at these 2 men and I'm like, no. It's Etriosa and Luan Lasserta here for the second fight. 136 for Luan Lasserta, 135.5 for Etriosa. Etriosa is a newcomer to the UFC, and he is a decent-sized favorite here in the spot. You know, both guys making weight, not a huge issue for either fighter, it doesn't appear. Etriosa is a minus 145 favorite. The comeback plus 200 on Luan Lasserta. This is a fight that I'm very interested in laying the chalk. Just a little bit on this one. I like what I've seen from this Sosa kid. He's making his UFC debut off the Dana White's Contender Series. He's a Spanish grappling champion. The only issue that I've had with this guy is that he sticks his neck into guillotines. And Luan Lasserta is a very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu player. So he's got multiple wins by sub, and you're giving him a guy that's going to put his neck in a dangerous position. So I didn't do a props show or a total show this week, you guys. Normally, I always make sure to get the totals and the prop show out for you guys. My daughter got sick, unfortunately. Thank you, by the way, for everybody wishing her well when I posted that up on social media. Those shows weren't coming this week. She's doing okay. She's fine. We're not taking her to the hospital or anything like that. It's just like the 24-hour flu type of situation. So she's totally fine. She's totally fine. But that's the reason I didn't get to those other shows for you this week. So I will touch ever so slightly on the totals and the props on this show, since I didn't have a chance to talk to you guys about those a little earlier in the week. I think you have to very strongly consider the flyer on Lasserta by sub, just because that's how he's going to win this fight, right? If he wins it at all, plus 650 for this guy to win by sub makes a little bit of sense. But I do personally think this is a good spot for Sosa. I think Sosa is going to be able to just put a pace on this guy. I kind of like the violence here, you guys. Total is 2.5, over 2.5 plus 100, under 2.5 minus 130. I think under 2.5 makes a lot of sense, because either Sosa is going to put his neck into a guillotine, or I think he'll just break Lasserta. I think his constant pressure, the way he attacks, every time he's hitting takedowns, he's looking for damage. He's always looking for chokes himself, too. He's very opportunistic. I don't know that he's got what it takes to submit a guy like Luan Lasserta, but it's there. You know what I mean? It's not drawing dead. There's a chance he totally could. So I kind of think this is a violent spot, guys. This is really what I'm looking at here in this spot. James, good luck to you with that plus 200. That's ballsy. I get it. UFC debutant at 30 years old. Nothing wrong with trying to fade that, right? Danny, my man, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for showing up here for the show. I'm going to have to scramble here, you guys, because they're messing me up with the order. So if I don't just immediately recognize who these people are, I'm going to have to go back and listen to the roll call, because they're messing with me. They got my order all whacked here for this one. Next up, we have got women's MMA. This is Bea Mosquita, and she's taking on Montse? Is that what they put? I thought it was Montserrat. Now they're saying Montse is her name. I don't know. Renon, 135.5 for Mosquita, 135 on the dot for Renon. And I always talk about how much of a monster Montserrat Renon is, you guys. She is so freaking big. That's her whole thing. She looked impressive on the scales today. She is very thick. She is very strong. But look at Bea. Like, she is just as big. Not just as big, right? Obviously, Montserrat is a little bit bigger, but usually Montserrat is enjoying a decent size advantage, a significant size advantage. It's not as pronounced as I kind of thought it would be. Beatrice is a decent sized woman herself. So this gets interesting here. Now, I chatted with my boy Brandon Olivas about this card. We broke the whole thing down on Monday. If you guys want the absolute total nuts and bolts breakdown, check out the live tab here on the YouTube page and go give that a watch after we're done with this one. But what he was talking about was the jiu-jitsu prowess in this fight, right? And even though Renon has a 100% takedown defense, she's so stiff, she's so herky-jerky that he thinks it's just going to take one time of tipping her over for this world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu player in Beatriz Mosquita to be able to go ahead and win this fight. Now, the props are a little bit wonky on this one, you guys. Mosquita winning by sub is even money, and I think that makes sense, right? She does have to get the takedowns, obviously, for that to be a possibility. We're expecting she can do that. We're not sure about how she is striking, but she does have really vicious ground and pound. So the KO TKO plus 500, that one's live in this spot, and it's a little bit sneaky, you guys. I really do think Beatrice likes to look for the ground and pound. She seems like she's a little evil. She's mean. She wants to elbow you to death. Whereas like Jillian Robertson, she sold out for the rear naked choke. She was always hunting the submission. She didn't develop that ground and pound until later in her career. Now she's a dual threat. This chick is coming in here and she looks to hurt people the second she gets them on the mat. She looks ground and pound first. So there's a very real chance that she could land this thing by TKO. So I would just say red flag, warning sticker. if you're going to bet this one, go inside the distance on her rather than taking her sub, because inside the distance at minus 150, you don't want to be sitting there crying over the sub prop that should have been at plus 100. It's not a massive difference, 50 cents. I know it's a little more expensive than we'd like, but I think with how much she does go to the ground and pound, in this case, it's probably worth it. I'm expecting a finish. She is the minus 700 favorite on the card right now, so I'm the bookies are with me. Everybody thinks she's going to maul Rendon here in this spot. What's Rendon going to do? Maybe she's roughly the same level of striker, right? Like maybe she's got a little tiny striking advantage. Is that enough for her to squeeze out a fade? Is that enough? Is she going to pop this chick in the mouth and make her quit with a big shot? I don't think so. I don't think she hits that hard. She's left a couple people with like red faces and stuff like that, but she's not a knockout threat. James asking, are we doing the augmented boobs fade? Maybe not on this one. Maybe not on this one. I got to tell you, I know a lady that's got some augmented boobs, man, and some of those things fucking hurt. Like that could be an advantage. I wonder, you could probably get some bolt-ons and have that be a significant advantage in your grappling. Because if you've got top position and you're just like down pressuring and grinding with your chest on somebody with those things, I would tap out from that shit. I've got this little lady that just, she's like a sweet, a mother of a friend of mine, and she gives me the biggest hug I've ever gotten from anybody in my life, and it's painful. I have to like brace myself for her coming in for a landing with those things because it hurts. So in this case, I don't think we fade the augmentation. They're more of an advantage than anything. All right, guys, next fight up, you have got the old man Olympics. Brad Tavares takes on Eric, your boy, Anders. 186 pounds on the dot for both of these guys. I will be honest, Eric Anders looked a little bit rough on the scale. He always looks a little bit rough on the scale, so that really is nothing new, but it does bear mentioning. This photo doesn't really do it justice, you guys. They look like they size up extremely well, and they do, but there is something to be said for the thickness of Eric Anders. He's in great shape. He's very physical, and his chest is about twice as wide as Brad Tavares is. Brad has got some like supermodel-esque washboard abs. He's got a little shelf for his chest, and then he's just ripped going down. You've got Anders over there who's got like the power pack thing going on, where his abs are like popping out over the top of his belt line. He's just solid muscle, man. He's in very, very good shape, which does have me a little bit spooked here, you guys. I'm a little bit concerned in this fight. Two things going on here. This is the first bet that I made on the entire card. I took Brad Tavares, and I hesitated. I wanted Brad Tavares at minus 130, minus 135. The line pipped up to about minus 38, and that's where I jumped in. It jumped up to minus 140, minus 142 at some point. Now it has swung entirely the other direction, you guys. It is swung all the way over to Eric Anders becoming the favorite. He is now your minus 115 favorite in this spot. And it's very, very odd. It's very odd. We got to switch hats here. It's very odd, you guys. It's very odd that Eric Anders is your favorite here in this spot. Why, you ask? Why, Clint, is it weird? Because he's retiring. This is his last UFC fight. The R word has been uttered. He is going out on this one. And as you guys know, for me, that is an auto fade. If it's a close, bettable line, I am fading the shit out of you if you are hanging it up. Coming into the fight, if I know you're done, I will absolutely bet against you, because these people just do not win their final fights. They do not sail off into the sunset. It is not happy-go-lucky times for everybody. Fighters are usually 1 foot out the door, and then they get one last fight, and they kind of shrug and go, all right, one more. And when you have that really tough training session that's not going your way, you quit a little sooner. When the fight gets a little tough, you quit a little sooner. You look for the door. You know that once they open that thing, you're free. You never have to cut weight ever again. And that weighs on these guys mentally. You know, once you're at the end of your road as a fighter, it's just, you're literally opening the door to a brand new life where all the bullshit that you're fed up with and you're exhausted by, you don't have to do any of it anymore. They're ready. They're ready to go to that. And so I look to fade fighters who are retiring. I'm shocked that so much money is aggressively coming in here on Eric Anders. Yeah, he's a little bit bigger, but he's herky-jerky, he's slow, he's low volume, and when you've got a guy in there like Brad Tavares, he's going to leg kick the shit out of Eric Anders. He's going to have a significant speed advantage over Eric Anders, and I think he's going to have a decent cardio advantage over Eric Anders. Anders has really shifted to like a grappling-based game plan towards the end of his run here in the UFC, and he's not going to be able to take down and control a guy like Brad Tavares. That's been Brad's calling card his entire career, is he's impossible to take down and control, and he beats you up in rounds 2 and 3 once you start to slow down. So Anders may be in fantastic shape, you guys, but he's still 38 years old, and he's still a guy that tires out trying to wrestle in his UFC fights. So I got, for better or for worse, reverse line moved. I've got Brad Tavares. That's the only action I've got on the card so far. And yes, the bookies kicked my teeth in because the line moved the opposite direction almost immediately. Captain J is asking, so second bet here, Tavares now the dog of the week? No, not adding. No, definitely not adding. Now, here's the thing. This is another good live opportunity, I think, because if Anders is all hell and fury in round 1, you probably get an even better number on Brad Tavares, and you know he's not going anywhere. So if he gets taken down early and you do get some plus money, this is one maybe you double down on live in fight. I'm well enough invested at this point. I don't need any more money on Brad Tavares. I will see how this one plays out. Probably just going to ride it out and hope for the best. Realistically, a Tavares fight, it's always a decision. You know what I mean? So this one's probably going to be pretty close going to the judges' scorecards, unless Anders' gas is hard enough that Tavares can find a finish late in the fight, or maybe like a calf kick TKO situation or something like that, which those are kind of hard to come by too. The one thing I'll always give credit to Eric Anders for is he's tough as nails. The guy doesn't go away. It's almost impossible to finish him. He is coming off getting knocked out though. So like next fight off getting knocked out, hanging up the gloves, that's where you worry something like that could happen to him again, but definitely not doubling down. Sam remains the dog of the week, my friend. Absolutely. All right, guys, moving it along. Do me a favor, hit that like button, share the show out there if you're on social media, and please get subscribed here to the Die Hard MMA podcast if you have not already. Next fight up. They have got this thing so freaking twisted. All of these are out of order. Let me find my guy here. This is Bellagio taking on Manuel Sosa. We've got Oki at 155.5. Manuel Sosa made 155 on the dot. This is a really fun fight, you guys. This is a really great fight. So Bellagio has ended up being a bit of a bust here in the UFC for the most part. He's up and down. I mean, I say a bit of a bust because, again, it's a bit of a bust. I mean, he's still definitely got some upside. He's still got some opportunity. It's not like he's dead in the water or anything like that, but he has not had the performances that we would expect from him for the most part. I don't know. I'm still really not sure what to make of him. He's tough. He goes hard. He throws heavy. But if he doesn't land that knockout blow, he seems like he's not quite doing well getting extended. Manuel Sosa is a UFC newcomer here. He's just 28 years old, which is insane because he's got a ton of experience. He's 13-1. He fought on Bellator. He fought on PFL. He fought on LFA. Like, this guy has been all over everywhere, and he's fought some really high competition levels. And then he got to Dana White's Contender Series, and now he's in the UFC, and he's not even in his prime yet. This guy seems like someone who legitimately has got some serious upside. It's somebody the UFC seems very interested in, even though he is on the short side here in this spot. I don't know. I've seen him take some serious shots. He's been chin checked. I don't know if Oki's going to one punch this guy. I love his boxing. I love the way he moves forward and throws combos. I've got Manuel Sosa in this spot, you guys. I like Sosa. I do think there's a chance this goes to decision, though. Both these guys are finishers. Both these guys are hungry. Both these guys want to take their opponents out, but they're also both tough. They're also both the kind of guys that are going to keep pressing. So I could see this being a one-round barn burner where both guys decide we live or die here in round one. But I could also see it being a spot where both guys get a little tired, both guys get cracked once, and they go, okay, I respect the power. I'm not going to walk into that again. And then we kind of coast a little bit. So Sosa by knockout is plus 165. Sosa by decision is plus 225. The over 1.5 is juiced to minus 175. And this is the kind of fight where I really feel like if we get up and over that 1.5, there's a very real possibility it just goes the whole distance at that point. So I kind of like the favorite by decision. Oki has had a little bit of trouble getting finished. He's been submitted once. He's been knocked out once. Mason Jones got him out of there in his last fight. So you worry a little bit about him. Maybe he can get tired and slow down and get cracked late in the fight or something like that. But I also think Sosa, he's got, well, not a lot of decisions, I guess, but he's got some later finishes, round 3, round 2, stuff like that. So he kind of builds as the fight goes. At the UFC level, maybe he's not quite able to get that finish. Maybe it ends up getting stretched to the cards. So I'm torn here. It could be a good round 3 sprinkle type of spot. I think I'm done with the Oki experience, you guys. I like Sosa. Let's keep it rolling. Next fight up is one where, oh my Lord, you guys, I need to move and I need to move quick. So this one got moved up the card, and I'll give you a guess why. My freaking guy, Elijah Smith, taking on Su Young Yu, Jiu-Jitsu. Both guys weigh 136 pounds, and they look like they should be in different weight classes, people. There's a reason that this thing got moved up the card, and the tinfoil cap will tell you why. They are putting this fight on blast. They're making sure that you understand this is going to be a show. So it's going to be deeper into the card. It's not kicking off the card. This is getting close to where we're closing out the prelims. They want the excitement to build before the main card of this fight card. And you know why? Because they know Elijah Smith is going to kill Su Young Yu. Look at the size difference, you guys. Su Young Yu is tiny. I had no idea that it was going to be this big of a gap between them. And physicality wise, Elijah Smith is a monster. This is a blue chip prospect. This kid can strike. This kid can grapple. He's coming along with his striking offense, but he's got raw God-given power. Okay. He slammed his opponent through the floor the last time out. If he gets caught in submissions, he is so powerful, so athletic. He can just beast his way through it. Jiu-Jitsu is a guy who's been hanging on for dear life in the UFC, using his grappling, using his wrestling. That's not going to be an option here. Elijah Smith is not going to be controlled or outpowered by a guy like Jiu-Jitsu. And Jiu-Jitsu has been taking on an extremely suspect level of competition so far in the UFC, you guys. I really like Elijah Smith in this spot. Now he's minus 250. I am fully planning on parlaying him with somebody. I don't know who I'm going to parlay him with just yet, but my intention is to parlay him with somebody. And frankly, you guys, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if he ends up knocking Su Young Yu out in this fight. Elijah Smith is 9-1. He's just 23 years old. He's got 5 KO wins. I think this is a spot where they're giving him a moment to shine. I think he's going to bully Jiu-Jitsu around the cage, and he's going to end up taking him out of there. Now, he is still a young kid, and Jiu-Jitsu is still a very good grappler. So there's a chance that he doesn't get the finish, which is why I'm looking at the parlay, you guys. He's a minus 250. I know it's that trappy, scary number, right? But it's the perfect number to parlay up with somebody to get somewhere close to even money. That's how I feel about it. That's what I'm thinking about it. I've been looking at betting Elijah Smith all week. It's just a matter of not stepping in the bear trap for that other leg. That's what I've been doing a lot lately, is my 2-leg parlays are going 1-1. So the parlay loses, obviously, when that happens. But I do think that there's a chance he finishes this fight inside the distance, and I think he's going to win, looking like a hindsight bigger favorite than minus 250, frankly. Cameron Junkin, what's up, buddy? Saying his KO prop is very playable. Yeah, plus 320 or so, something like that. Yeah, I think it's very playable if you're looking for that shot. I would think maybe round 2, round 3. The one thing I would say is maybe don't be shocked if he just kind of bully chokes his way to a finish. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like pounding Jiu-Jitsu, and he's so small. I wouldn't be surprised if he like turns his back or something like that, and he takes a rear naked choke home or something. So the 10-1 sub prop has got my attention. Now I have zero knowledge or reason to think that sub prop is coming home, right? Like, I don't have stats to back up the fact that Elijah Smith is some grappling or jiu-jitsu phenom that he's been working real hard on. He's been working real hard on his submissions. He's got a bunch of submission attempts in the UFC that he just hasn't quite hit yet. Like, no, I don't have any of that for you guys. That's just kind of the tinfoil cap talking that I'm like, hey, you've got a 10-1, and this kid is a natural born grappler. So sub is maybe on the table, even though he's only got one in his entire career. The one thing I will say is he went for, I think he got a choke on Dana White's Contender Series. He's got really long, lanky arms. So the Darce chokes, the Anaconda chokes, stuff like that, those are things that he can hit and go for. It's a matter of whether or not that's the game plan. I think more often than not, this guy wants to ground and pound people. So I don't know that he's going to be hunting the sub, but if he looks for it, if he wants it, I think 10-1 is going to be there. You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of thing I throw a dart at. 10-1 on a sub prop for a guy that's going to out grapple his opponent. Why the hell not? That seems okay to me. But we'll see. That's where inside the distance comes into play, right? Maybe we'd rather do like a plus 200 inside the distance than split the hairs on how he gets it done. But main thing is money line. I like the money line. I like him as a parlay piece. I think this kid's going to be good. Moving along, let's get to these big boys. Next up, you've got maybe my favorite fighter, my new favorite fighter on planet Earth, Concrete. This man is freaking awesome, and I don't know why. Vitor Patrino, Steven Aspund, 248.5 pounds for Vitor Patrino, 265.5 pounds for Steven Aspund. And look at the difference. Boys, you have got a 205er who's moving up to heavyweight, and we've talked about this. Vitor Patrino looks like a refrigerator now that he's moved up to heavyweight, right? He just like widened out immediately, not having to cut that weight. He's a big dude. The weight cut down to 205 cost him, but that's also where he had his advantage. He was big, he was powerful, he was strong. Now he's kind of a smaller heavyweight at this point. And it really, guys, I'm getting Jailton Almeida vibes here. Vitor Patrino is a guy that I don't think is excellent, right? Like, I don't think he's a title challenger or anything like that, but he is the kind of archetype that the UFC wants to push. He is, to quote Steven Aspund, he's hot. He looks like The Rock. Like, if you guys didn't hear Steven Aspund's interview, it's an absolute gem. I should have cut some clips of it for you guys here for this show because it was fantastic. But this guy can grapple. He's big. He's strong. He looks good. Like, that's the kind of guy the UFC wants and wants to push. Now, Aspund is a brawler. Aspund is a big guy who wants to throw hands, right? He just wants to get in there and throw heavies. He's cutting down to the absolute limit for heavyweight. The thing is, I don't know what kind of a grappler he really is, right? I don't know how hard he's worked on his get-up game. I don't know how effective he is if he gets put on his back. Now, what we do know is that Vitor Patrino can be caught. He can be knocked out. He can get tired. So if he doesn't get an early finish, Aspund is super live in this spot. Aspund is massively live in this spot. And he's also really fast for being a big man. I think that's something that is overlooked and a little underrated about Steve Aspund is how quick he is. At plus 190, you could do worse. Now, I do think this is going to be a really tough first round because that's when Vitor Patrino does his best work. He is very powerful. He hits very hard, and he's very strong. And again, the biggest thing for me is the grappling. I worry about the grappling disadvantage here for Steve Aspund, but Aspund is the much larger man. He is more physical. Look at the frame. Even though he cut all that weight, like, he's just got a naturally bigger frame. This is a real heavyweight human being in there who Vitor Patrino is going to have to deal with. If he doesn't get him out of there quickly, early, I know Steve Aspund is going to put the gas on. I know Steve Aspund is going to walk forward and he's going to keep throwing bombs. He's just not going to stop. And we've seen that be a problem for Vitor Patrino before. So if you guys haven't recognized it yet, this is your PSA for the week. Don't sink all your ships parlaying on Vitor Patrino. Split them up. If you're going to parlay something, put Vitor Patrino in a two-legger. Don't be anchoring everything with Vitor Patrino this week because there's a very real possibility he gets hurt in this spot. And on top of that, I'm rooting the hell out of Steve Aspund, okay? This is a good man. This is a good dude. You guys know for me, that means a lot. A lot of these fighters are scumbags, right? It's my favorite sport. I love violence. I love to watch the martial arts. I love to watch people fight. I love people getting choked out and people getting knocked out. So you're going to get the violent psychopaths as part of the sport. But I love when you get a good heart who gets in there and also knows how to be violent. That's my favorite kind of fighter. This is a family man. This is a guy who gets support from his community, who gets emotional because his family is behind him and he's got a second shot at life because he found fighting when just trying to lose weight and get healthy. It's one of my favorite stories we've ever heard in MMA. So I love Steve Aspund. I hope he wins this fight. I am absolutely rooting for him here in this spot. And I think he's very, very live at plus 190 to get this thing done. I would love to see, let me see here. What are these numbers for his later rounds? Because I think round 2 KO is 12-1, round 3 KO is 20-1. I think those are definitely live. Obviously, heavyweights, big boys, throwing hands. These guys, he could get a knockout in the first round, so it's not a guarantee that he won't just win right away in the first round. But his KO prop at plus 450, that's like music to my ears, you guys. Like, I love to see that number. Plus 450 at heavyweight. A guy who has hands, a guy who's got speed. I'm kind of talking myself into an Aspund dog shot here, you guys. I leaned towards Vitor Patrino earlier in the week, and I just really was heavily reliant on breaking down the grappling advantage for him. But the more I look at this, and especially with the size discrepancy, I'm like, damn, dude, this guy is super live this week. Aspund is more live than I gave him credit for. I didn't realize he was going to be quite that big. Haven AQ checking in. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. All right, guys. Next fight. Let's talk about Chris Curtis and his opponent here, Miktabek Oralbay. A couple of guys that I really like. You've got Chris Curtis, 170.5. Oralbay also 170.5. These guys are fighting at 170 pounds, and it's interesting because Oralbay is a very, very big 155er who is kind of given up on cutting down to 155 and just moving up a weight class, right? Chris Curtis, a 170-pounder very naturally, who had more success at 185 than he expected, so he stayed up a weight class after taking a couple of loose cannon type opportunities up there. He made it all the way to the contender circle up at 185. He's a tough out for everybody. Now he finally got his shit together and he's coming back down to 170 pounds where God knows he belongs. But what's crazy, look at the size difference. Guys, okay, I'm not. Somebody posted on Twitter today this exact photo, like this exact photo, this angle of these two right here. And they're like, Miktabek Oralbay is moving up to 170. Curtis is coming down from 185. And Oralbay's bigger. Brother, what? The fuck? Do your eyes just not work? Like, look at the photo. There's evidence. Chris Curtis is very obviously the larger man. And then I had people coming to his defense in the replies being like, well, when we say bigger, it's not just the height. And I'm like, I know. Chris Curtis is still bigger. Look at the shoulders. Look at the arms. Look at his back. Like, he is physically larger than Miktabek Oralbay in every traceable part of the word. Like, you can't measure anything. Even his head is bigger. Like, nothing about him is smaller. I don't understand. I was so confused today. So I wanted to point that out. Okay. I wanted to point that out. I was waiting for this exact moment. Okay. I was waiting for this because money is flooding in on Oralbay. In fact, Bet Online posted that they got an absolute nuclear missile. Somebody laid like 60 grand or something like that on Miktabek Oralbay in this spot. And for me, I'm sitting here licking my chops going, we've got plus 280 now on my boy Chris Curtis. All right, you guys, I'm a Chris Curtis apologist. You guys know this. And I know sometimes he can let fights slip away by being a little bit too low volume, but Oralbay is a finishing monster. He's a bull in a china shop. He wants to roll you up and take you down and choke you out and pound you out. That's how he operates. Now, in his last fight, he got Jack Hermanson, who also was a 185er cutting down to 170 pounds. He met him in the middle and he knocked him out with a big overhand, right? So Miktabek Oralbay's got power. We know this. He's got God-given physical gifts, okay? But guys, Jack Hermanson is well known for being chinny. And at 37 years old, cutting a ton of extra weight out of your brain and dropping a weight class, he was massive, by the way. That was a poor choice. He got knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez and said, I'm going to take some water off my brain and I'm going to cut down an extra 15 pounds. Poor choice. Poor decision. Back-to-back knockouts at 37 years old. Like, just that ain't going to work. Chris Curtis is not the same thing. Chris Curtis is a completely different animal from Jack Hermanson, okay? Jack is a stick and move boxer. Jack is light on his feet. Jack is quick. He wants to keep you at range and at the end of his jab. He's a very underrated submission grappler when he gets the opportunity to go to it, okay? Chris Curtis is a steel trap. This guy is a ball of metal and brick, okay? He shells up. He's got the same type of defense that Sean Strickland has that works so well. It's almost impossible to hit him cleanly. And then he just rips your body. He keeps a nice wide base. He's heavy on his feet, and that's why he's super hard to take down. Even guys at 185 had problems getting Chris Curtis to the mat because he is insanely strong and he's physical and he knows how to use his get-up game. He's been a little low volume recently for my liking, and that's been a bit of a problem, but he's only been knocked out twice, you guys. He got head kicked by Roman Hopilov up at 185 pounds very recently. That was a problem, but it was deep in the third round, literally 1 second left on the clock. And then he got knocked out all the way back in PFL. A lot of people don't know this. Way back in the PFL, he literally fought twice in the same night. He fought Magomed Karamov, and in the main event of the PFL, something happened where the night of, some dude fell out of his fight. So he shrugged and went, fuck it. Let's run this. He literally fought a full fight with a Magomed Karamov type of fighter and then ran it back against a prime Ray Cooper III. So yeah, he was worn out. He was tired. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to jump up in the PFL and go again, and he's that kind of dude. So he took it. He got knocked out by Ray Cooper that night. Those are the only 2 times in his entire career he's been knocked out. He's durable as fuck. So is Oralbay, does he have Francis Ngannou level power? Is Oralbay the kind of guy that's just going to spark people on the first punch? I don't think so, okay? Now, in the UFC so far, he committed Tofik Musafayev, a guy who is 36 years old and is kind of a bit of a fraud, right? He fought Elvis Brenner to a back-and-forth war type of decision. He submitted Uros Medic, who's he looks good now, but not he's a striker, right? Not a guy you want to deal with on the mat, that kind of thing. So I was super high on Oralbay, you guys. I'm super high on Oralbay, just generally speaking. But I think this number is crazy. I think people are absolutely looking past Chris Curtis. Everyone hates him because of the way he talks. He's had some weird interactions with fans. He's gotten into it with people online. So people just don't like Chris Curtis. But when you go skill for skill, the fact that he's actually the bigger man in this fight, that's something that never happens. Chris Curtis is never the larger human being. He's been fighting absolute monsters at 185 pounds for the last 2-3 years of his fight career, and he's been doing well against them. We're talking about guys like Nasruddin Imavov. We're talking about guys like Brendan Allen, right? Like Roman Hopilov. These dudes are massive. This is the first time Chris has been the bigger man in the cage since he fought Kelvin Gastelum, who's like a clone of him as far as fighting in the wrong weight class, right? So he's just never the bigger guy. Whenever he is the bigger guy, he's punishing people, you guys. He knocked out Phil Hawes. He knocked out Joaquin Buckley. Like, he's a beast. So I'm sorry. Getting close to plus 300, I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to pull the trigger on Chris Curtis. Plus 280 is a crazy number. And plus 450 for him to win by decision, I think makes a lot of sense. The spread, plus 5.5 makes a lot of sense because I don't think he's going to lose a lot of minutes on the feet. And I don't think he's going to get taken down very much. So he's probably going to win at least one round. This would be like a plus 3.5 spread type of spot for me. I don't think Chris Curtis is getting finished. If Oralbay finishes Chris Curtis, I will be completely blown away. I will be massively impressed. by this kid. But I think it's worth a 1-unit shot at 3-1 to see if Chris Curtis has got one more shot in him. See if the old dog has got one last run in him, especially considering now he's going to be the guy that's the right size. He's going to be the guy who's got a reach advantage. He's going to be the guy who's got a little bit more physicality behind him, a little bit more strength, a little bit more size. He's got some advantages that he hasn't gotten to enjoy in years. So I think it's worth giving it one last run with him right around 3-1. Hey, Carrillo, my man. Yeah, I said at the top of the show, I'm sorry, my daughter got sick this week. No total takedown, no props show. I'm kind of trying to touch on those a little bit here on this show since we missed those shows earlier this week. I appreciate you guys, you diehards, you hardcores that support me and watch those other 2 shows that I put out weekly for you guys. So it means the world to me that you missed it and you wanted to watch it. We'll be back to it next week, I promise. This week got a little crazy, got a little out of hand, and when my daughter got sick, dad life engaged, you know what I mean? Had to take care of the home before anything else. Next up, you guys, we have got Charles Johnson taking on Bruno Silva. 126 pounds for both these guys. And dear Lord, look at the size of Charles Johnson. It's nice to see he's regrowing his hair, though, because usually he's got that little tuft down here at the bottom. Now he's got like a main thing going on. So he's adding a little bit. It's slowly growing. It's a project. It's like when you leave some stuff in the sink too long and it gets a little bit bigger. Charles Johnson is a weird fighter right now, you guys. I've just not been able to get this guy right. I've broken him down forward and backwards. I've got a really good assessment of his skill set. I can tell you everything he's good at, everything he's bad at, but for some reason, I can't get his results right. I'm on the wrong side no matter what. If I fade him, he pulls off a massive upset. He knocks out guys like freaking the champion Joshua Van the night that I bet against him. But then when I bet on him, he goes out there and loses to fucking Ode Osborne. Like I can't figure him out. It's just we're never on the same page, you and me, Charles. We're never gonna get it together. We just keep, he's gonna be the one that got away, you guys. That's he'll be the one I tell stories about forever because I will just never get it right with timing on Charles Johnson. He just got knocked out. Back in January, you guys, a month and a half ago, this man got slept badly by Alex Perez in the first round of their fight. The first knockout loss he has ever taken. And we've talked about how he likes to get the bad taste out of his mouth. He likes to shake it off and get right back in there. I don't like that. That's what led to the 3-fight losing streak he was on when he first made it to the UFC, where I lost so much money trying to back him there. He's getting Bruno Silva here, who's back at fight ready, 35 years old. Now, thank goodness we had Brandon on the show on Monday. He's not at fight ready anymore either, but it doesn't sound like anybody else is. Like fight ready is kind of a ghost town right now. So it's weird that Bruno's going back there at this stage of his career. There's nobody there to help him. There's nobody there to train with him. So I'm sure he's comfortable. That's great. But like, who's he working with? I don't know. He's incredibly skilled. He's very talented. He's another guy that really could give anybody a fight when he's on his best night. He'll give anybody a go for their money. And you've got to be a certain caliber of fighter to be able to beat him. Now, Josh Van knocked him out. Manel Kopp knocked him out. You go back into Tagir Ulanbekov, beat him by decision, right? Like, those are the kinds of guys that he's struggling with. Anybody else, he's handling. Cody Durden knocked him out in the second round. Big comeback win. Tyson Nam clubbed and subbed him. Had him trying to figure out where he was in life and choked him out. Hyung-Sung Park in his last fight, in the third round, deep in the fight, choked him out. Like, this guy is dangerous from bell to bell. And he wants to go out there, and he's talked about getting a 100K bonus, you guys. They talked about how Dana White upped the bonus number, and he's hunting for it. We know Charles Johnson is the kind of guy who doesn't like to shy away from a fight either. So I think these guys are going to go at it. I think this is going to be a barn burner. And it's the biggest line move of the week, you guys. So much money coming in here on Bruno Silva. You had Charles Johnson like minus 220 to start the week. He's all the way down to minus 165. Bruno Silva is plus 140 at this point. I got to tell you, on the quick turnaround, the back-to-back knockouts, that's the kind of thing that would have me interested in a Bruno Silva KO prop. At plus 500, the guy throws nuclear missiles. But I also can't get past the height and reach here. Now, he had a height and reach discrepancy against a guy like Tyson Nam, too, who, by the way, was the hardest hitter this weight class has ever seen. That was Tyson Nam's whole thing, but he couldn't grapple. That's where the weakness was with Tyson Nam. So I don't know if he's going to get Charles Johnson down. That's my issue. So if he can club Charles Johnson and knock him out, that I think is on the table. I don't think he's club and subbing this particular opponent. Charles Johnson could win this fight by knockout. We know he's got that kind of power. I feel like maybe, I mean, it would have to be a club and sub with like his long ass lanky arms. He would have to get like a high elbow guillotine or something like that. Not super likely, right? So for Charles Johnson, it's either knockout or decision in my estimation. And then for Bruno, it's knockout or bust. Like I have a hard time seeing Bruno win a decision here, you guys. I really do. He's a finisher at this weight class, something that is very, very rare. But you look at his last couple fights, right? All of his fights dating back to 2020. All of them are wins inside the distance. His entire UFC run, he's never won a decision in the UFC. He's gone to decision twice. He's lost them both. He's finished everybody else. And then he's been knocked out twice. So if it goes to decision, this guy is losing. So I still kind of lean to Charles Johnson. There's a part of me, there's just this itty bitty part of me that wants to buy low on Charles Johnson. Because he was a 2-1 favorite in this spot. And because he got knocked out in his last fight, everyone's jumping ship. Everyone is jumping ship and flooding to Bruno. And I'm like, man, how's Bruno going to hit him? He likes to play karate on the outside and like dive his way in. With the height and reach advantage of Charles Johnson, I feel like he could just jab him to death. I really do. I still lean to Charles Johnson, you guys. I hated the number earlier in the week because it was like, how are we gonna lay 2-1 on this guy after getting knocked out? How are you gonna do that? I see the argument for the KO prop on Bruno Silva, but I see the money line on Charles Johnson and the decision prop on Charles Johnson, and I'm like, like you're giving me almost $1 discount on this guy at this point. The bookies think he should be a massive favorite. And I know that doesn't always mean anything. But he's still a moderate favorite, even after all the money coming in the other way. I don't know. I'm very tempted to buy low on Charles Johnson. I do think this will be a close fight. I do think this will be a competitive fight. The over 2.5 is -185. The under 2.5 is +145. And like I said, I could see violence here, you guys. I could see this being a violent fight because that's how Bruno deals. That's what he does. And he's already talked about wanting that win bonus. I think this is the kind of fight where they both just kind of let it all hang out there. And if that's the case, I'd rather bet on an under than a side, right? So fight doesn't go the distance. I think that makes some sense. The under 2.5, that makes some sense. Plus money for these two finishers to go out there and get it done. But Charles Johnson by decision wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me one bit because we've seen that trend work for both these guys, right? We know Charles Johnson knows how to win decisions. Coming off a knockout loss, he just wants to get back in the win column. He just wants to get back on track. We've seen him beat people by decision before in the UFC, and Bruno doesn't know how to win decisions. So I could see Charles Johnson coming out, slowing it down, winning this thing over 15 minutes. D, what's up, buddy? Thanks for being here. Good to see you, man. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday. All right, guys, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I hope you're enjoying the show. Let's keep it moving. We got a couple more fights to talk about here, and we are headed back up to 205. We're talking some big boys. We've got Umarci, and he's taking on Ion Coutalaba. Man, I missed the green. I missed the green. Ion, bring the Hulk back, man. Go full war paint for me, buddy. I'm sure that's expensive as shit and hard to clean off. So I understand why he doesn't do that anymore, but I miss it. I miss it. It was my favorite. 205 on the dot for Ion, 205.5 for Umarci. Both these guys look like brick shit houses. These are massive men. These are guys that look like they could make it up to heavyweight if they really wanted to, right? Like, not really. They're not that big, but they're just jacked. Both these guys are jacked. My God. I can't wait for this fight. Ion Coutalaba is must-see TV, you guys. Every stinking time, he's must-see TV. He goes out there and goes balls to the wall no matter what. Totals 1.5. This is one where I would lean over, though. Ion Coutalaba is known for being tough. He is known for being rugged. He is known for being gritty. He's known not to give up on himself. He will hang in the fight unless you absolutely end him. Now, he's been submitted 4 times. He's been knocked out 3 times. So there is a chance, this guy could get him. And part of the issue is Ion Coutalaba is a bully, you guys. I've talked about this many, many times. Ion Coutalaba is a bully. If you're bigger and stronger than him, he just kind of folds. Kennedy Nizuchuku, Johnny Walker, Ryan Spann, like these guys all got him out of there, and they got him out of there with a quickness. Devin Clark, Tanner Bozer, Ivan Ersland, Ibo Aslan, like these guys that he can just kind of push around the cage. Those are the guys he's getting to. Those are the guys he's able to get one over on. And even his last fight against Modestas Pakauskas, he should be on a 3-fight win streak. He won that fight. He absolutely won that fight. Now, Umarci, 12-1, 30 years old. He's kind of been a little disappointing so far in the UFC. He won his first fight against Tuco Tokos by sub, and everyone was all hyped on him. The decision against Dawon Jung raised questions, and then he lost to Alonzo Menifield. So it was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, so he's taken out a couple of cans in Brinson Abarrio and Tuco Tokos, and then he had an extended fight with a potential can, and then he lost to Alonzo Menifield. So it's like, what really is Umarci? Who is Umarci? So I've got questions here, man. I could see Ion Coutalaba giving this guy a fight. I really could. Now, Umarci is training at ATT. That's where you want to be. He is, like I mentioned, built like a brick shithouse. He's obviously on all the good stuff. I do think there'll be some wrestling here, but I don't think Umarci is going to like one punch Ion Coutalaba. Like maybe he'll take him out. He'll take him down and pound him out, that kind of thing. He does have very good ground and pound. He does have opportunistic submissions. So I could see that taking place, but I don't think it's going to happen early. I don't think it's going to happen immediately. I think Ion will put up a good enough fight in this one, and he'll be able to kind of match the wrestling at least a little bit. So I kind of like that over 1.5. This will be your butthole pucker spot of the night, you guys. This is not a fight that's going to be easy to bet up and over because Umarci's got 5 first-round KOs, and Ion Coutalaba been finished in the first round 5 times. So he's been submitted a couple of times and he's been knocked out a couple of times. And most of those come in the first round. So if he's going to lose, it happens in the first. So it's a little bit of a concern going up and over 1.5. I think I have to side with Umarci. I know Ion Coutalaba has been around forever. He's fought the who's who of this weight class. I'm glad he's still on the roster. But at 19-11, he's kind of nearing that 500 number. He's losing to guys. And again, he won the fight, but he lost a split to Modestas. If you're good, you're not losing to Modestas. That's all it comes down to. He's fraud checking people. Ibo Aslan, Tanner Boser. You can't grapple. You don't belong in the UFC. He'll take you out. That's who he's beating, right? And then once upon a time, he got pre-mental fortitude Khalil Roundtree. But most of the guys who are really good in this weight class are beating Ion Coutalaba. So this is kind of a gatekeeper moment here. Let's see if Umarci can pass this test. I lean favored in this spot, but I am rooting for Ion Coutalaba. He's a guy somehow pronouncing the T in Coutalaba got me to pronounce the T in rooting. I am rooting for Ion Coutalaba. I like Ion. I'm just a fan of his. I want to see him win. I want to see him get this spot, stay in the UFC, derail this hype train. So another favorite that I'm not trusting, another favorite that I'm not parlaying, but another fight that should be really fun. And again, lean towards the over 1.5. I don't know for sure that I'm betting that one, but lean towards the over 1.5 for a bet. Next up, you guys, we have got the return of the man himself. You saw him get wheeled out of the UFC in a chair. Harry Hardwick is back, baby. 155.5. Marwan Rahiki is 146. And this is an interesting face-off because Harry looked tiny when he made it to the UFC in his first fight. He was up at 155. He got his legs absolutely destroyed in his first fight. Like I said, they literally wheeled him out of the cage because of that fight. He could not stand up afterwards. Bad look, really bad look, but he was taking a short notice fight up a weight class. I was worried he was going to be significantly smaller. He's at his normal weight class back at 145 here, but he's taking on a larger man for the weight class as well. Now, Marwan is a little on the skinny side, so it's not like he's super built or anything like that, but he still does have the height and reach advantage. He's got low kicks, you guys. I'm just saying, if Harry has not gotten himself back in the lab, if nobody told him, hey, bro, maybe you want to learn how to check kicks, it could be a problem again this week. It could be a problem again this week. Marwan looks pretty good. Spinning elbows, big flashy attacks. The problem for me is he's got tall man's defense. He's very hittable. He's very, very hittable. Both guys in great shape. And frankly, the shape Harry Hardwick is fantastic. He looks phenomenal, you guys. The problem for me, again, with Harry is that he's this tough guy mentality, right? He's a Cage Warriors fighter who made it to the UFC, and he reminds me of like Reese McKee. You remember Reese? Reese would come forward. You had to melt him. You had to knock him out cold if you were going to beat him. and nobody could do that. So in round 3, he would always make this massive comeback, but he just took a life-changing beating for 10 minutes every single time. And when you finally got tired, that's when he cranked up. That's exactly what Harry does. This guy takes everything you've got, shoulder rolls with it, steps forward, and then starts throwing his own leather. That's what he does. That's what he's got. That's what he brings to the table. And I don't know if you want to be that guy. You guys, I'm skeptical. I've told you for a long time. Cage Warriors, this new crop of Cage Warriors, they're no good. They're no good. They're bums. So there's not very many good Cage Warriors fighters right now. Now, I know Lorna Kavanaugh is looking pretty good lately, but there's always an exception to the rule, right? I don't think overall this crop of Cage Warriors fighters is anything to write home about. And I think Harry falls right into that category. I think he's going to be shooting fish in a barrel. Now, the question is, does Marwan get caught by this guy? Does Marwan get tired if this guy starts to refuse to go away, right? If he refuses to fade, if he refuses to get out of there, maybe Marwan gets hit with something, and that's where I'm concerned. He should win this fight, you guys. He should. If Harry starts to turn the tides, you jump in on a live bet, folks. You jump in as quick as you possibly can. If Harry starts moving forward and throwing overhands and smiling and Marwan's eyes get big, like, you throw your money on Harry like right away at that plus 500 number. But if he doesn't do that, I think he's going to get his ass whooped. Marwan is just such a cleaner striker. He's so long. He's so smooth. I really think he's going to have a big advantage on the feet in this fight. And I think Harry could end up being very, very short for the UFC. I don't think he's going to be around very long. We will see, but I am not expecting much of anything. Next up, you have got the other guy on the card that I'm very excited about, who I'm probably going to end up using in the other leg of that parlay I was talking about. Andre Touchy Feely takes on Jose Miguel Delgado. 145.5 for Feely, 146 for Delgado. Feely, a guy who gets in there and fights with everybody. He fights the split decision, you guys. That's his whole thing. He's a man version. He's Mangela Hill. This guy goes to a split decision every other fight. He really hurts his opponents in round 1 every time. Watch. He will clip Jose Delgado with something big, and you're going to be like, oh my God, Andre's going to win this fight. And then he just stops. And then he gets his ass beat for the next 10 minutes and loses a split decision. That's just what he does. He's alternating wins and losses. He's coming off a split decision win over my boy, Christian Rodriguez. So you know that means the bill is due. He is going to lose this fight this week. It's just, it's his record. It's the MMA gods. Yeah, I have no control over it, you guys. That's just how it works. He won his last fight, so he has to lose this one, and it's going to happen. Jose Delgado is a fighter I'm very excited about. He's 10-2. He's just 27 years old. He's fighting out of the lab of all places. He beat up Nathaniel Wood in his last fight. That was a hell of a fight, by the way. Nathaniel Wood, very impressive in that fight, but it was a barn burner. It was a back-to-back war. This dude sparked out Hyder Amel when he made it to the UFC, which that was huge. This is a big step up in competition for him. Actually, from Nathaniel Wood, it might be kind of a step down. He's taking on a bigger opponent, but Nathaniel Wood, one of the most technical, skilled guys at this weight class. So it might actually be kind of a step down. But Andre Feely, a guy who can be had, a guy who's been submitted, a guy who's been knocked out ever since that Milky Costa, call the FBI submission loss. I'm worried about him in there just kind of trying to collect a bag. I like Jose Delgado, and I like him a lot. Now, he's kind of blowing up. He's minus 400 now at this point. I probably should have locked in a little earlier in the week, but what does the number look like here? If I go Elijah Smith parlayed with Jose Delgado, it's about minus 140. I like that. That's probably what I'll do. I know it's still a little bit of chalk, but I think both those guys win. And I think Feely's out to pasture at this point, you guys. He's 35 years old, but he reminds me of Anthony Smith. He's 25-12. Like, this guy's just fought forever. He's got so much wear and tear on that body that I don't think he's going to be able to keep doing this for very long. Like, this guy is getting roughed up by a lot of people. He's got a lot of miles on him, and he lost all that aura shaving his head. Look how skinny he looks up there right now. Like, I feel like he's hitting that old man phase where, remember when Vitor Belfort got off the meds? When he got off the TRT therapy and he got all skinny and he looked like he belonged in an old folks home for 2 fights before he retired and then got back on the juice. That's kind of what he looks like here. So I do think now is the time to take advantage of Andre Feely. And plus, it is a guaranteed lock that he loses this fight because of his record. Alternating wins and losses. He got lucky with a split decision win in his last fight. We should have known. We should have never bet C-Rod in that spot because, of course, he had to win that fight at all costs. He's losing this one. It's written. I'm sorry. There's nothing anybody can do about it. If you've put your money on Andre Feeley this week, you've essentially lit on fire. Next up, co-main event. Amanda Limos takes on Jillian Robertson, 116 pounds for the ladies. And I want to talk about Limos here for just a minute because people were calling me crazy. I think she looks disinterested, you guys. I really feel like she just doesn't seem super into it for this fight. Now, as you can see, they size up decently well. Limos is just a little bit larger. We know this is a rough weight cut for her. She's an older lady, right? She's got some miles on her. So these weight cuts are getting tough. But that's kind of my point, is that when she was up there on the scales, she just looked like she had no life in her eyes. And when they put out the promos for her earlier in the week, I mean, I'm talking Tuesday, Wednesday, the photos of her, she just doesn't have the spark. She doesn't have the fire. Like, I'm just not seeing it. She's another fighter who is alternating wins and losses for her last couple, not her entire career, but for her last couple. She is coming off of a loss to Tatiana Suarez. But here's the thing. There's a way to beat Amanda Limos. Listen to these names. Losses: Tati Suarez, Verna Jandiroba, Wiley Zhang, Jessica Andrade, right? Those are the people beating her. Now the wins: Yasmin Lucindu, Mackenzie Dern, Marina Rodriguez, Michelle Watterson, Angie Hill. You give her a striker, and she's quick, and she's nasty, and she hits hard. She'll go out there and make a fight of it. You give her a grappler, and she's on her back. She sells out for that guillotine. She doesn't have much of a get-up game. She doesn't have much takedown defense. And now she's 38 years old. Right? She's nowhere near the title anymore. I'm getting deflated vibes from her. Now, if she lands on Jillian Robertson's chin, there's a very real chance that she just one punch KOs Jillian. It could happen. Okay. That was the big knock on Jillian earlier in her career, was that if she couldn't get the takedown, she'd get punched up and get knocked out, and she'd fold halfway through the fight. Like that's a thing, right? She's kind of put that away. For the last couple of years, that really has not been an issue for her. The issues came when you've got really powerful, short, wide base fighters who she can't take down. Tabitha Ricci, JJ Aldrich, right? People that can box her up that she can't bully around the cage. Miranda Maverick. Those are the problems for her now. That's not Amanda Limos. Amanda Limos swings for the fences, overswings, right? Looks for the kill, completely wild overswings, and then goes down to the mat. This is a spot that Jillian Robertson should be able to win, you guys. This is a spot where Jillian should be able to come out of here smelling like roses. This should be her moment. This should be our opportunity. And as captain of the Jillian Robertson fan club, this should be her moment to grab the microphone and scream for a title shot. Now, whether she wins this thing via decision or whether she throat cuddles her way to a victory via submission late in this fight, I don't know. But I do think she's going to end up getting her hand raised. Now, she's a minus 200 favorite. It's a dangerous spot. It's a dangerous fight. Amanda Limos is the kind of fighter that you absolutely can go to as an underdog. I respect it. I understand it. I get it. But it's Jillian Robertson or pass for me, you guys. I'm only laying it with the favorite here on this one, if I'm going to do anything. Limos made Tatiana go 3 of 12 on takedowns. Yeah, but I will say the solution, Tati's kind of cooked at this point, isn't she? I mean, and even though she's getting better with that takedown defense, like I said, something's off about her. I don't know if she's sick. I don't know if she got bad news, right? But like something's off. I don't like it. That's the tinfoil cap for you on this one. Something's up. I don't like Amanda Limos. I don't like the attitude. I don't like the vibes. Something's wrong. So if I just needed one more reason to bet Jillian Robertson, I got it. I got what I was looking for. All right, everybody, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe, please, if you haven't already. And let's break down the main event. Josh Emmett takes on Kevin Vallejos. I believe it's Vallejos. I always say Vallejos, but I'm very white. So 146. Josh Emmett takes on 145.5. Kevin Vallejos. And as you can see, they size up extremely well. Kevin is small, you guys. This is a little bulldog. This man is itty bitty. Like, Josh Emmett's not the biggest guy, and the fact that he's sized up extremely well, like, this is a passing of the torch moment, right? Like, Kevin is the future version of Josh Emmett. He's so young, he's so explosive, he hits so freaking hard. Like, I'm really excited about this fight, man. Josh Emmett was one of my favorite fighters for a long time there. He still is, technically. He's not retired yet, right? But he's 41 years old. He's 1-4 in his last 5. It's been a real rough patch for him. He always looks like a sucked out skull. You guys know those pictures like that bikers use for their jackets where it's like a skull with a beard? Like, that's, if Josh Emmett doesn't shave, that's what he looks like every single time he weighs in. He's half dead getting to the scale because he's got that wide body, that Daniel Cormier barrel chested thing. He's not built for this weight class, but he still somehow sucks himself down to have that power advantage. And by God, does he have the power, right? That Bryce Mitchell knockout in 2023, still one of my favorite knockouts of all time. Just absolute insanity the way he landed there in that spot. But Kevin's been doing that at 24 years old to everybody. His spinning back fist over Giga Chikadze in his last fight, the way he murdered Sung Woo Choi. I mean, this guy's got hands. He's got hands, and he's just getting better. Now, the one thing I will tell you is Josh Emmett has got a very, very obvious pattern. He's only been knocked out once, you guys. He's only been knocked out one time. Jeremy Stevens got him all the way back in 2018, shattered his face. I never thought we'd see Josh Emmett again. I really thought he was going to retire that night. He came back insane somehow, but even the guys who have crazy power don't knock him out. He went to decision with Lerone Murphy. He went to decision with Ilya Taporia, the champion, the guy who moved up a weight class and is cracking skulls even higher up in the UFC. Josh Emmett commands respect with his power. The way he hits, there's just something. People want nothing to do with it, okay? The other thing that happens to Josh is he can get submitted. Yair Rodriguez took him down and choked him out. Youssef Zalal just set him down like a little baby and took his arm home. Was like, hey, I got this one, buddy. Just let me have that. So Josh Emmett is getting taken down and submitted lately. He's not getting knocked out. Kevin likes to move forward and car crash with people, but he's got 2 chokes on his resume. And he did go the distance with Gene Silva. He lost that fight via decision. He's a finisher, you guys. But every once in a while, somebody pops up who he's not quite able to take out. He's got a couple decisions on his resume. And I wouldn't be shocked if this fight goes longer than people are expecting it to. I would not be at all shocked if Josh Emmett, that nuclear option, right, makes Kevin be just a little bit more defensive than he's used to being. And this fight ends up going over. Now, the total set at 3.5. Now, we know from our friend Yanni the Greek that if you just blindly bet those over 3.5s, you're printing money. When the bookies offer you a 3.5, it gets up and over more often than not. Kevin Vacheios by decision is plus 200, which I think is kind of a crazy, fun way to handle this thing. Now, he could maybe win by sub. He's got 2 subs on his resume, but I don't know that that's going to be the game plan. That's just not the way this guy fights. If he finds a way to a neck, he'll take it, but he's not hunting for it. He wants to use his hands. So I kind of think you could, like, if you're doing like a crazy prop parlay or something like that, I always do one, right? If you're doing that like me, maybe you end this thing on Kevin Vacheios by knockout, and then you can hedge it plus 200 on Kevin Vacheios by decision. Because I'm like pretty sure he's winning, right? Or you could hedge it. I'm sorry. Maybe you want to do inside the distance. What's the number on inside the distance? To win by oh yeah, Kevin Vacheios inside the distance is minus 140, you guys. So if you anchor whatever you're doing on Vacheios inside the distance at minus 140, then if you've got an opportunity for like a big score, you just do Kevin Vacheios by decision. And as long as Josh Emmett doesn't pull the upset, which, let's be real, who of us thinks Josh Emmett is pulling the upset? I certainly don't. Then you've got a 2-to-1 hedge where you can find a nice opportunity to make some money. Now, that's if you're parlaying up. That's kind of a crazy strategy. You're not betting straights, that kind of thing. If you're looking for a long shot window, that gives you an opportunity to make sure you can get your money back at worst case scenario. That's what I like to do. If I've got a parlay that anchors on a leg, I hedge on the other side to make sure I'm at least getting my initial investment back. Or if it's a big one, right? If it's a big score, you can hedge to make sure you're winning at least a little bit of something. That's a good way to do it with that plus 200 number, I think, on that decision prop. I wouldn't be shocked if that's actually how this thing goes, is if it gets up and over 3.5 and you end up getting this fight by decision. Similarly, let's talk strategy here for a second. If you end up like you want to anchor everything on like fight doesn't go the distance, it's minus 200 in this fight for the fight doesn't go the distance. Now, instead of hedging on fight goes the distance at plus money, that's a yes or no option, right? Like it either goes the distance or it doesn't. This is where in MMA you can have a very rare opportunity to middle something, because you could pay up for the over 2.5 rounds at minus 190, or you could bet the minus 115 over 3.5 rounds. And if the fight ends inside the distance in that last window of those last couple rounds that you have, you actually end up cashing both tickets. So that's the kind of hedge I like, where there's a middle opportunity, a window to make extra money. And then you also are hedging on the big investment for the big parlay. So just a little strategy talk there for you, a little bet. UFC Vegas 114. Dan says Vacheios round 4-5 or decision is the same odds as just decision on my book. Interesting. I would not expect that to be the case. I would think they would drop that number pretty significantly, because that's where I think he does a lot of his damage here on this fight. Guys, that is the undefeated post-weigh-in. Thank you all so much for being here this week with me. I appreciate you guys. There's a lot going on in the world. We've all got stuff happening. It's preseason. Fortunately, we're involved in it, but we've got fights. We've got each other. We got this chat, and we can throw a couple bucks on people getting knocked out and enjoy ourselves on a Saturday. That's what we come here to do. So thank you guys very much for being here. Thank you for supporting me. Let's be sure to treat each other with kindness and respect. The world needs a lot more of that right now. Let's talk about this real quick. I like Sam Hughes. She's my dog of the week. I'm probably going to live bet her, but I might find a way to put a little bit on her beforehand, just to make sure I get the good number at plus money here. I like Elijah Smith. I like Elijah Smith a lot. He's getting parlayed, but I kind of like him inside the distance. Sneaky call. Sneaky on that sub prop. Bam Mosquita, she's probably going to win this fight pretty handily. The KO prop is another sneaky one where maybe she ends up getting it. I lean towards Sosa. I lean towards Manuelo Sosa. We could do the Sosa parlay if we wanted to. I like Chris Curtis at plus 280, the plus 5.5 spread. Now you're speaking my language, because my boy is not going to go out like a bitch. I've got Brad Tavares. I got reverse line moved in a big way, unfortunately. So I'm really sweating that one out. But Brad Tavares is the only action I've got locked in right this second. I actually kind of like Steve Aspund. I got turned around by how big my boy is. And let's be real, new favorite fighter. Love me some Concrete. I'm rooting for him here in this spot. Plus 190, puncher's chance. Plus 400 knockout prop. I think we're interested in Steven Aspland this week. Lean buying low on Charles Johnson. Lean violence in Charles Johnson and Bruno Silva. Harry Hardwick is not a person I want my money anywhere near. Marwan Rahiki is probably the pick there. Jose Delgado, your lock of the week, because Andre Feeley is destined to lose this fight. I like Ion Coutalaba. I'm cheering for him here, but I think he's losing to Umarci. Jillian Robertson, of course, we got the t-shirt. We got the hat. My wife is embarrassed how much I love another redhead. And then Kevin Vacheios, sneaky over. Sneaky Kevin Vacheios by decision. Maybe. There's some opportunities this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope it was informational. I hope no matter what I said, you can find a way to profit and make some money at UFC Vegas 114. And then I hope you join me right here on the Die Hard MMA podcast next week on Monday, where I'll have another awesome guest for you, and we'll talk about next week's card. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Let's roll.